Again, my price target is right here. So you'll see this is... All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about a company called Cleanspark, stock ticker CLSK. For those of you who follow the channel, you'll be extremely familiar with this one. We cover this a lot. They reported earnings yesterday, and I want to go through their earnings press release and their earnings call. An unbelievable amount of stuff was said this time around, and we need to dive into it. Cleanspark's a Bitcoin miner, and we cover Bitcoin miners quite a bit on this channel, so if that is content that you are interested in, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And of course, if you like this video, please smash the like button. Also, feel free to drop a comment below. We're in the middle of the trading day on February 10th. This is the day after earnings. They announced earnings after the bell yesterday. We're trading at $9.82 at the moment, now $9.80. So up 17.5%. Cleanspark has been very strong all day. Today was a strange day in the market. Bitcoin dropped about $2,000 at 9 o'clock and then came straight back up. That's been a roller coaster, but Cleanspark has been up. This has been a massive move up for one day, so I'm not sure how much further we're going than up 18%, and we could even pull back a little. Today is an excellent day either way for Cleanspark. I'm just going to kind of talk about the earnings call as I go through this press release, because their earnings call was the polar opposite of their previous earnings call. Their last earnings call was very short and very confusing, and I know that everybody was frustrated with it because that's about the most comments I've ever got on anything was what is wrong with Cleanspark, what did they do on their earnings call? So they actually addressed that at the beginning of the earnings call and said they did a poor job of communicating. They didn't specifically say in the last earnings call, they just said they want to clarify and do a better job of communicating. And, I think that's what they were talking about. And they did. They were extremely decisive in this earnings call, and they talked about a lot of information that we haven't heard yet and clarified a lot of questions that have been swirling around out there. Let's go to the highlights. Okay, financial results for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2021. The company increased its quarterly revenue to $41.2 million, an increase of $38.9 million or 17x from the $2.3 million from the same period last year. That's not really a fair comparison. That was their first quarter ever that they're comparing to, so the 17x year over year isn't that meaningful. But however, I do want to show you last quarter because quarter over quarter I think is extremely meaningful. Okay, so this is last quarter's press release. This was the period ended September 30th, 2021, and the one we're going through right now is the period ended December 31st, 2021. So in the last quarter, they said revenue for the 3 months ended September 30th, 2021 was $27.1 million. So you can see they went from $27.1 million to $41.2 million. So that's over a 50% increase in their revenue from last quarter to this quarter. So that's extremely meaningful. This was a very good quarter. Basically, we already knew that. They do a monthly update, so we know how many Bitcoin they mined each month. We knew going in that their production had gone up substantially, and the month after this quarter, which was January, they crushed their all-time high and mined over 300 Bitcoin just in that 1 month. So I think we can expect to see the next quarter have some excellent growth as well. Net income for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2021 was $14.5 million, 35 cents basic income per share, compared to a loss of $7.2 million or 32 cents a share for the same period last year. So again, year-over-year comparison, they were just getting going last year. So this company is profitable, and I would expect that to continue. $5 million in cash, $30 million in cryptocurrency, total current assets $58 million, total assets $418 million. And we're going to talk about their balance sheet a little bit because they talked about this on the earnings call. And they have a new CFO. He seemed much more confident in his capital expenditure plan on a going forward basis. And he talked about some banking relationships that they already have established. He talked about potentially leveraging these assets to buy new equipment versus having to issue new shares or spend their Bitcoin. So I think they're going to take a three-pronged approach is what they talked about. They are going to continue to use their Bitcoin when it makes sense. They're actively looking right now to secure some debt at a reasonable rate. Equity is their last of the three options. They did say for the time being, their stock, they considered it extremely oversold, and they were not going to issue any new equity, even though they have a shelf offering sitting there. The CEO said they were not going to issue any new equity at the current stock prices. So that was encouraging. He didn't say they were never going to do it again. They did say that would be one part of a three-pronged approach, but right now it's their last one. They also talked about how they're going to buy their machines on the spot market. They do not want to get wrapped up. They have some purchase orders right now to just about 2x their exahash. They're at 2 right now, and they have enough purchased to get to about 4. They would like to try to buy the majority of their machines on the spot market because they believe there's going to be opportunities. The price of machines went up drastically for a period there. They believe there's going to be some opportunities in the future to buy machines at a more reasonable price. In addition to that, buying them on the spot market allows them to always buy the latest and greatest versus buying something and having it delivered maybe a year from now when it may already no longer be the best machine and most likely wouldn't be the best machine by then. So as it pertains to exahash, the CEO started this by saying they want to be a top 5 Bitcoin miner. And then he went on to expand as to what exactly that meant. And one of the things he's talking about is just what it sounds. They want to be in the top 5 in mining Bitcoin out of all the publicly traded Bitcoin miners. So they did talk about a lot of other things as it pertains to being a top 5 company. They want to be responsible. They want to be green. They don't want to leave a carbon footprint behind. They talked about a lot of employee programs that they have. And they also talked about a lot of outreach with the community. But the bottom line at the end of the day is it's their intention to be one of the top 5 Bitcoin miners. So right now they're at 2 exahash. They have commitments to get them to 4 exahash. But we know with what everybody else has committed out there, they're going to need to get substantially higher than that over time. So they expressed that that is in fact their intention. And I think people really had some confidence in their new CFO. So I just want to take a look at their balance sheet for a minute because I'm going to tell you what the CFO was talking about. They have property and equipment right now of $198 million. In addition to that, they have deposits on mining equipment of another $125 million. So almost all the equipment that's coming is already paid for. That is over $300 million of assets, and they are looking to get more of a traditional loan leveraged against their equipment. That's not really what's been happening in the Bitcoin mining industry thus far, so this would be a bit of a breakthrough. We did just have one miner. I think Bitfarms was able to borrow $30 million against their equipment, so that's a precedent. These guys want to do the same thing, and they've got over $300 million, most of which is brand new equipment. Again, they've only been doing this for 1 year, so the oldest thing they have is 1 year old. So you see that leaves them with $418 million in assets, the vast majority of which is equipment. They have $58 million in current assets, so they spend a lot of their Bitcoin on this deposit right here. So right now their holding is a little bit lower than it normally is, and they did address that as well because they have spent a lot of Bitcoin, and they spent more Bitcoin in January than in any other month since they've existed. So they talked about the fact that they do value Bitcoin. They do see it as a store of value over the course of time, and they want to increase their Bitcoin position on their balance sheet. However, they will also continue to use their Bitcoin strategically to buy equipment. So basically they said when necessary, they will use their Bitcoin to buy equipment to get more Bitcoin. But I think we're going to see a much more balanced approach going forward. I don't think you're going to see their Bitcoin position decreasing on a month-to-month basis like we did in January. They did stress that they are going to use a combination of hodling and using Bitcoin strategically to buy equipment when it makes sense. So I think that was an important clarification because that was a very big question out there. I did a video just about a week ago on this, and I talked about that very topic, and I feel like they addressed it head on and told us what their position was on this. So for those of you who watch the channel, you know that I hold a lot of CleanSpark, and this is a buy and hold position for me. So again, I'll take this opportunity to say this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing. I've been very bullish on CleanSpark, but I did want clarification on that issue, and I think they really did clarify it on their conference call. So let's go take a look at the chart. Okay, this is the chart on the 1 hour time frame. So each one of these candles is 1 hour. So even just in the time we've been talking, at the beginning of this video, 15 minutes ago, CleanSpark was up 17%. Now it's up 23.5%. So I don't know where the end is. I will say, in my video last week, I talked about this line right here at $9.82. At that time, we were trading somewhere in the $6 range. So I picked that as a short-term price target. I didn't think it was going to be this short-term. This raced right to that line. So I thought this was end of the first quarter target, but obviously they're already past that today, and they seem to continue to keep going here. So we'll see where the top is. The other price target I talked about in that video was up at $12.41, and I thought that was also potentially end of the first quarter, middle of the second quarter. So they're racing along much faster than I thought. They've already taken out the first price target, and they're only 22% away from the second price target. So this is a massive, massive run-up. I am holding my stock. I did sell some of my short-term options on CleanSpark because obviously those went up dramatically today. And I do think there's a lot more room to the upside because even this $12 price target, I'm going to zoom out for a minute. If you look at the chart on the 4-hour candles, you'll see, so this blue line was their September low. So that was the last bear market. So Bitcoin is now well above where it was at this time. So the fact that they're not even back to this blue line says even with this gigantic upward day today, they still really haven't even caught up to just following along the price of Bitcoin. Again, my price target is right here. So you'll see this is nowhere near their recent top or their 52-week high. So if Bitcoin was to run back up to 69,000, and again, that's a long way away from here. We're at about 45,000 right now. So that's about $24,000 increase in Bitcoin. But if it were to do that at some point in 2022, I think it's realistic that CleanSpark will retest its highs from November because, again, its November high is nowhere near its 52-week high. This stock was trading over $40 last January and February. So this price target at around $23 is still just barely half of their 52-week high. Again, there's a lot of variables here, and today is an extremely volatile day. Up between 15 and 25% is a massive one-day move. So in the short term, I would tell everybody, be very careful. I did take some profits in the way of selling some options. And again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence, especially on a volatile stock like this one. So I'll leave it at that for now. The conference call was vastly improved. They get most improved because last quarter's conference call was rough. This one, I thought they did a good job. It's reflecting in the price of the stock. So that's my CleanSpark update. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.